We're chasing championships. Simple as that.
Fast gets slow, but big doesn't get small.
We will draft, develop, and retain our own.
I'm grateful that they gave me the opportunity, and I'm here. Fins up.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to Fins Faithful. Tonight, how good can Malik Willis be? Can he prove he's a guy to lead this Dolphins to this rebuild? Tonight, Wes Goldberg of Locked On Dolphins Quick Hits joins us to break Malik, Miami's young core, and whether the Dolphins are going to build the right foundation for the future here. We'll also have some fun. He doesn't know yet, some over-under lightning round. Maybe we'll get a bold prediction out of Wes here. Wes, welcome to Fins Faithful, man. How you doing this evening?
Super excited to be on here, guys. Thanks for reaching out, and excited to talk some Dolphins with you guys.
Yeah, and of course, I have my co-host and co-pilot, as always, Mr. Jason Sonny. Jason, how are you?
Doing well, George. Wes, thank you for joining us. Let's talk. And a couple of days away from seeing a familiar face coming down to Miami, so should be a fun couple of days.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Share it with your brothers, aunt, and uncles here. Get everybody in Fins Faithful with Wes Goldberg. All right, let's not waste any time, Wes. Let's get into it. Let's kind of start with the leadership. What are your early impressions of General Manager Jon-Eric Sullivan, Coach Hafley? What's your gut feel right now as you've seen so far the direction they established so far and how they're running it?
I'll start with the GM.
Yeah.
I think Sullivan's done an awesome job. I think he's doing all the right things. He's making a lot of the tough moves that, frankly, as we know, a lot of the other previous decision makers wouldn't make, right? I mean, we all know for 30 years it's been promises of rebuilds, and then the rebuild's like, well, actually, we could do this, and then all of a sudden the rebuild gets scuttled for a quick fix, and then some of these people have not even promised a rebuild. They've promised quick fixes that haven't exactly fixed anything. And Sullivan really seems like he's out here saying the right things, but also his actions are backing it up, right? I mean, you think about the kinds of things, just for instance, right? Like, he trades Jalen Waddle but keeps Devon Achane. I thought that was a fascinating sort of personnel experiment, because what happened while it was confusing at the time, right? Because then they signed Malik Willis, and then they trade Waddle right after, and you're like, whoa, okay, well that kind of sucks for Malik. But then you look at the wide receivers that they added, and it's all big-bodied wide receivers who are going to play the run game. And then you hear Jeff Hafley talk about how the receivers are going to be required to block, or they're not going to get targeted, and all these things. And there's an alignment, right, from the general manager to the head coach that I think has been missing for so long. And it's one thing to say we want to be big, we want to be physical, we want to do this. And it's another thing to just be like, well, this guy wasn't big and physical. And I love Jalen Waddle, but big and physical wasn't exactly what he was known for. And so it's like, this is a good player, but he's not the right player for us. And Devon Achane, they're telling us, hey, this guy can run between the tackles. We'll see, right? We'll definitely see over the larger sample size of a regular season. But there's a commitment to the run game, and I think that's very clear. And so, yeah, right now, my gut feel for Sullivan is that he's doing a lot of the right things. I also think it helps when a general manager this reminds me a lot of what's going on in the NBA, and I can't help but kind of draw the parallels between the NBA and the NFL. But I always say the number one job for a general manager, keep the job, right? And a really great way to keep the job is to preach patience. Hey, you can't fire me. I told you this was going to be a while. You can't blame me. I said it was going to take a while. And I do think that there's a little bit of that here, but I also believe that Sullivan wants to be in this position for a very long time, and that he's meaning the right things. And then with Jeff Hafley, it's more of the same, right? I think I need to see a little bit more of that accountability that he's preaching, right? But it's only been 2 preseason games, right? A fumble and a couple of bad calls. Just because a guy walks into the building and says, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable, doesn't mean those things just go away. Like, those bad habits need to be worked out. And so when Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright are having some of these fumble issues, and we have some offensive line holding calls and stuff, and it's not even really the real offensive line, it's a backup offensive line, so they're holding calls because they're just being overpowered by better players, like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there's, in terms of your question about the gut feel, I know I'm going long here.
No, that's fine.
My gut feel right now is very optimistic, and I think they're about the right stuff, and we'll see if they can execute on it.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a follow-up, Jason, but for me, I'm right with you. And you talked about the big receivers. There was somebody who said, I think it was Dave High, we had on, I never knew what a Chris Greer team looked like, but I know what a Jon-Eric Sullivan team wants to look like immediately.
Great call.
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately. Like, how we didn't know what Chris. So, like, even the pick, like, oh, I want Bain, I want Downs. No, we're getting the biggest, baddest dude up front. That's
Right.
how we're gonna play, and point the finger at me, right? Like that. I'm totally on board with you, and I agree. I agree with you. There's gonna be a lot of ups and downs this season. We know that, but I agree with the alignment. To me, West, the real test is the hit rate, right? That's what this is about this season. What building blocks? How many did you hit? It's too early to grade everything, but I'm with you. I just feel like we got a real football guys in the building with the vision. That's just my take on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I could jump in really quick, because
Yeah,
you're talking
sure.
about all this stuff, and now, like, this guy is a risk taker, right?
Yeah.
Like, right away, he is not afraid of an unpopular decision. Waddle was very, very popular, super popular with Dolphins fans. More popular than Tyreek Hill, more popular than Tua, obviously. Like, I would say probably maybe the most popular player on the team over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he was like, good player, not right for us. And he traded him for draft picks. Bain was sitting right there, UM kid. Everybody was like, oh, here we go, right? Like, you know what it reminded me of is when we passed on Beck, not John Beck, Brady Quinn.
Brady
like,
Quinn.
Whatever that was, like
And
80
we
years
took
ago.
Ted Ginn. We took
Ted Ginn, and then we
his
ended up
family.
taking Beck. Yeah. But,
Didn't work too well for Cam Cameron.
Right,
Was
exactly.
the right decision, I guess.
It wasn't the wrong decision,
Yeah.
right? They could have been wronger at the time, but yeah, it kind of reminded me of like, oh, we know what the Dolphins are going to do here, and then boom, swerve. So obviously, hopefully, this works out better than Ted Ginn, who didn't have a bad career, but it wasn't great in Miami.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he's not afraid of making the unpopular decision, which I think is a job requirement of a good GM.
Yeah. What is it? The Precious Achua for Tyrese Maxey? What are we doing that?
That one didn't work out really.
Yeah. Going back to you. Go ahead, Sonny.
The first huge decision that Sully made was obviously the quarterback. It was his marquee move of the offseason. So what are your thoughts about Willis, and what do you believe his upside is?
I have so few thoughts on Malik Willis because we saw him one drive, which is already like the greatest drive in Miami Dolphins history, the way that it's being talked about. It's like 94 yards. I like everything that we've seen in training camp. I love some of the arm talent is obvious, isn't it, guys? Like some of the stuff that he's doing off his back foot, the way that thing just whips through the air. I mean, I love the timing on that one and only drive that we got in Washington. But that was a scripted drive, and I'm sure they had practiced that drive. And so I want to see it when it gets hairy. What does it look like when it gets hairy? What does it look like when you're off script in the third and the fourth quarter and you need a long drive, a field goal, a score, a touchdown, whatever it might be? That's what I really want to see, but we just haven't really been privileged to see it. But, I mean, based on what we have, I think the thing that sticks out to me about Malik is his sort of unbridled optimism, which I think is the right leadership kind of angle to take with a young team. Right? I do think there's a time and place for a cynical quarterback, right? Like an old Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, like, look, I know what works. This doesn't work. Get out of my way. Like, I think there's a time and a place for that quarterback. But that quarterback wouldn't work for this football team. I do think that you need a younger, excited, like he's not as young as some of these other guys on the roster, but it's his first time starting, and so he's kind of in the same spot as a lot of these guys anyway. And I do think that there's an unbridled optimism that he plays with, and I think that's the kind of confidence that some of the young guys around it, specifically the wide receiver room, needs. I love what he said about the receivers the other day. I thought it was a load of horse
No rock,
bleep.
no blocker, no block,
But that
no
was
rock.
Hafley, but I like what Malik said about.
Malik.
It was gonna, every day it's gonna be somebody new, and I was like, well, that sounds like a problem. But I do. But
It's a Green Bay way, though, right? It was the Green Bay.
Great point. Yeah, and if you're in that wide receiver room, it's exactly what you want to hear. So.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I took so much flack. I'm a big draft guy. We do a bunch of draft stuff here, Wes, and you'll know as you get more into this here. But like I had Malik the number one quarterback in that draft, and it wasn't tough. Kenny Pickett was the first pick, so like of course quarterback taken. So but I've been at almost all the practices, and you talk about a guy, and I've seen it on film, and I've seen him live once. It's real, like especially coming off the guy we had here last year, who's not to be named. We might see him on Friday. Tua Tagovailoa. Congratulations to Tua. Third child on the way. We wish him the best. But to me, the question for him was always about development. He was going to need time, right? And it's going to be I compare it to a shortstop who can make this spectacular play. Can he make the routine one? And I think the efficiency for him and the consistent routine plays, when you add in the spectacular ones, and there's going to be mistakes, right? He relies on his arm. But I thought it was a unique opportunity, Wes and Jason. At 26, I think he's still 26, Jason. I don't know. You could correct me on that. his talent and history with Sullivan and the contract, it's not a long-term risk. I thought it was a smart swing at the position. I believe, I'm a believer. Your thoughts on this? I believe general managers should take multiple shots at the position, and Malik has legitimate. We call him the franchise quarterback, bridge or franchise, Wes. And it's kind of like bringing it back to the Heat for a second. I don't think they took enough John Moran shots the last few years, right? Like this kind of feels like that kind of shot. I just think it was a unique opportunity. Jason or Wes, you want to chime in on that?
Go ahead, Wes.
I'm glad you brought up the contract. I thought it was a great contract. Especially considering some of the numbers that were being thrown out at that point. That was like $20 million more than what he ended up signing for. You saw some places like more than $80 million or whatever. So they get him on a decent deal, and I like that there's an out on the deal. But I also like that it's a fair contract for a guy who's never really been a full-time starter, and he could definitely earn that contract. What I like about it is that it doesn't force you into drafting a quarterback this season. This next summer. If he's the guy, great, awesome. We'll take Jeremiah Smith. We'll take the corner. We'll take whoever we want to take in this next draft. And if he's not the guy, okay. If he's not the guy, we're probably having one of the top 2 picks in this draft, and we have a chance at one of these great quarterbacks that are coming out. And so it's kind of a win-win. And I'm with you. I forget who said it, but it's a popular. I would draft a quarterback every year, even if I had one. If I had Dan Marino reincarnate, like I would draft a quarterback every single year. I would do it. It's the ultimate crapshoot position, and it's the most valuable position in sports. And if you have one, it's so much better than not having.
I say it's 60% of the whole thing. You figure that out, the rest gets. You don't have to
everything
be perfect
else
on the
falls
rest.
into place, right?
Yeah.
And for Malik too, like if he's gonna really be doing the scramble, some of this option stuff, and all these things, like it just leans into what we were talking about earlier, like this commitment to the run game. It's a very strong identity, and by the way, a lot of fun to watch. I know that it kind of gets, what the Eagles do, just running the ball over and over again isn't great, but like in Miami, we haven't really seen that. And I think it would be kind of an interesting experiment considering where we were at the last few years, where it just felt like we were passing it every down we had a chance.
I would love to see easy touchdowns on the ground and tush pushes for first downs and scores, Wes.
Right?
I don't care. Bring it on.
Quarterback
Spoiled
sneak.
here.
Bring it on.
How about the
Eagles
linebacker?
fans.
The linebacker actually has to be worried about the threat of the read option or something like that. And that's going to be fun. All right, let me ask you this: if I say, what do you want to see? How do I word this? Like, what must Malik do for you to believe? All right, let's hold off on the 27 draft. Like, is there something you're looking for in particular, or is it you'll know it when you see it?
Can you repeat the question? There was I cut out there for a second.
Okay, no, Malik, what do you need to see from him this season so you hold off and say, all right, maybe I don't need to go 27 quarterback in the first round here?
No, it's a great question, right? Because this team's going to lose a bunch of games, right?
Yeah.
I think we know that. And so, like, how do you judge a quarterback if his team lost 10-plus games? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I got to see situational it factor, right? 3rd and long. Are you converting? Are you making a play? Did your receiver drop the pass, but you put it on the numbers, right? Because, like, this receiver room is pretty young and unproven. But, like, it's going to require eye test, right? It's going to be watching all these games to really know whether or not Malik has got it. Does he seem under duress, or does he seem comfortable when the rush is on? Like, the little things, right, that frankly, I don't know that are going to show up in the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And we might have just...
He, like I said, the win column is probably not going to be very kind to him. But if we're watching these games and it looks like there's something there and the leadership is there and the guys can still believe in him up to the point where it's like, last couple weeks of the season and probably whatever it is it's going to be. Yeah. That's the kind of thing. I know it's not like a specific answer, but I don't know that there is one.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I honestly think it's maybe one of those evaluations, Wes, where you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Like you said it best. The statistics, I think, won't tell you. You're going to really have to filter and decipher a lot of evaluations this year and kind of put the win-loss total aside. I mean, you also got, we'll talk about it, the talent around him. To me, it's like, does he make the routine play? Can he? I always say this, Wes, like there's 1 or 2 plays a quarterback can change the game, right? And we haven't had that around here. And you see the really good ones do that. Can he elevate those young receivers? So if he consistently give those difference-making plays, I mean, there'll be mistakes. I think we'll have a clear answer. Maybe not. Like, it could be the best of both worlds. We're kind of like, all right, let's draft one like Green Bay and we have Malik for another year. Like, but yeah. Yeah.
It's almost the opposite of Tua, right? Like Tua had the numbers, and then he would make this boneheaded play. You're like, this is not the guy. Like the guy doesn't make that throw, and he had the weapons and everything. Willis is probably not going to have the numbers, but if he's making that play every once in a while, you're like, oh, that's a play that the guy makes. Then I think you feel better about it.
Yeah.
I think specifically if it's like 3rd and long and Malik is just peppering one to the sideline on a 15-yard out, and we're not worried about a defensive back taking it to the house because it's a duck. You know, it's things like that we can consistently see.
Yeah, good point.
Sorry,
the ball's low here.
There's so many spoisms that I keep going back to during everything. Like impact. Do you impact winning? Like I'm just going.
That's it.
Like there's so many spoisms.
That's our stat.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Keeping with the quarterback, obviously Quinn Ewers a little banged up. He has struggled this summer so far. Do you think that the backup quarterback is currently on this roster, or is Cam Miller going to maybe overtake Ewers? What are your thoughts on the backup?
So I do think the backup quarterback is currently on the roster, and I don't know that that's a good thing. I'm just not convinced that this front office is going to make the kind of move that you need to make to go get that backup quarterback. Maybe somebody gets waived. Maybe there's a pick swap that they could do to get one of these sort of traits guys in the building or something that's I know that J.J. McCarthy's of the world and stuff like that. But I said today on Locked On Dolphin Hit, I think Cam Miller is just better than yours. I think he's just better. And right now I would have him as QB2. Maybe I read too much into this kind of thing, but he was so bad in Washington. And then he was really okay against the Giants. Yeah. And I know that's not inspiring, but if I'm Jeff Hafley, if I'm Jon-Eric Sullivan, I'm looking at this guy. In 1 week, you went from maybe the worst quarterback I've seen since Cleo Lemon to all right. And that's a really big improvement.
Welcome to the Dolphins world. You mentioned Cleo Lemon.
Yeah, man.
No, dude.
Still looking for his first completion of his career.
His decisions. I'm seeing a guy who is capable of improving week over week, and I kind of, out of a young quarterback, I kind of like that. So I would go Cam Miller, and I could totally be overstating this, but I would go Cam Miller over yours.
This is the one, like we have our finsfaithful.com, we have our website up and stuff like that. Guys, check it out. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. We got Wes Goldberg on from Locked On Dolphins It. You guys know him from Locked On Dolphins and he's fantastic there. So now he's taking it over here. And Kyle Crabb's also on Locked On for another program. So shout out to Kyle. All right. This one I'm really beating myself up because I might have told Jason this, but like I've been to most all practice and maybe one half a practice he's been good. And I looked over at my buddy, shout out to DJ from Fin Heavens. I said, dude, is Cam Miller quarterback too? And he looked at me like, yeah, you can't say that, man. You can't, I'm like, it's what I'm seeing. And now it's not as crazy. Like, Jason, do you remember me telling you about Cam Miller being quarterback?
I do, but Wes, we were never huge on there's competition with Quinn Ewers and Malik. Like, we were never on that train. So it's not really surprising that Ewers is taking a back step, But are we ready to anoint Cam Miller? That would be interesting. No. But I do agree with you that from an asset standpoint, they're not going to spend heavy assets to bring in a viable backup quarterback. They're going to take the scrap heap route.
Yeah, I think they should be monitoring which quarterbacks definitely come available around the league. Ideally, a young guy with maybe I like my quarterback to have similar traits as my starter. And it seems like this staff values athleticism at the quarterback position. So right now, like I like Cam. I see more Cam as I think you're right. He's probably quarterback too if you're being fair, but like that's a problem. So
it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, but he's more of a developmental practice squad. There's something there to work with though, Wes. I agree.
It's a design problem. It might be a designed problem though, right? Like it's a flaw that we want in the system because if Malik goes down, then all of a sudden it's just like the season's in the toilet, and then you're drafting Arch Manning, right? So it's like it might be a design flaw on purpose. But no, I do think they need when cuts come around. Quarterbacks sometimes is a way of wiggling free, right? Because you just don't want the quarterback drama and stuff that sometimes comes with that position. And so if there's a guy out there, I think they might make a move. But I agree with you guys. I don't know that they're going to necessarily move a real asset. Yeah,
maybe tomorrow preview of the show. What might be is who's quarterback two, some options. So we'll get into that. We'll try to get to see some of your Taylor Green. That's another one. We'll try to get to some of your questions here. Jason, go ahead.
No, I wanted to get your thoughts on the weapons around him. Sullivan drafted 3 receivers. I mean, it's the first time the Dolphins have drafted 3 receivers since the mid-'70s. So definitely a unique situation. And, of course, you got to credit Sullivan for, I guess, knowing the position. His father, a 50-year wide receiver coach, sometime in Miami. What are your thoughts about the 3 rookie receivers, and where do you see that, each of their potential?
I could not be higher on these 3 guys. I love these guys. They're like the Caleb Douglas catch, the Coleman catch, what we're seeing from Chris Bell, at practice, and the fact that he's like speeding through this recovery process, takes the red jersey off on Monday. Sounds like he's going to be playing against the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see him play. I love receivers like this, though. I love like the bigger, more physical receivers. I hear an AJ Brown comparison with Chris Bell, and I'm all in. I'm easy, guys. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to be heartbroken by this group, but I'm also I'm very, very optimistic. I think what Caleb Douglas has shown so far, the fact that he continues to pop in training camp and in that one preseason game, I thought was really really important. Like I love to see a rookie come in and make an impact right away, right? George, you used your spoism before, like, make me watch you, make me play you.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
Like, Douglas is making you watch him. Chris Bell, from the sound of making you watch him, Coleman went out there and he was like, oh, cool, you're not playing these guys? Awesome, I'll get 5 targets in the first quarter. Like, I'm just going to keep being open. I'm going to outplay Tutu Atwell. I'm going to outplay all these other vets. That says a lot to me. I understand it's preseason and stuff, but these guys also have the traits. I like the swings that they made on these guys, right? Like, especially when you think about a guy like Bell, who could have been a late first-round pick. They end up getting him later because of the injury. But, like, that's the kind of swing you have to make when you're so deficient in talent. And maybe not all 3 of these guys pop, but one of them has to, right? 2 of them, maybe? Like, I think that would be a success.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I like that they're all complementary to each other. Douglas, the X, Chris Bell's like Z, Kevin Coleman, I love. From the slot, I think he's the most underrated Coleman to me out of the 3. I agree. I see it. Like, it's hard to ask 3 rookie wide receivers, but like, dude, everybody was criticizing the Douglas pick, but that's 1 point to Sully. Like, he saw that right. It seems like. So I agree with you. I think, and dude, they need him because Wes, outside of those 3 rookie guys and Malik, I don't know if there's anything on this roster. Is there? I mean, like, is there enough?
Yeah, you've got Dulcich's hair at tight end. You've got Achane, who it sounded like they were going to involve him in the passing game a lot more in some of the talk. We haven't really seen that. I mean, again, I guess we haven't really seen Achane at all, so maybe that's part of it. But
yeah,
I do wonder how much of him we see in the passing game, like how involved is he? But tight end is another big, like, that's going to be a waiver wire target position for sure.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree. All right, offensive line, Wes. All right, major question here for years. The young pieces, we talked about, they invested in Proctor in the first round. They went big. How do you feel about this line, especially with Paul and Proctor? And we don't know ultimately where Proctor's going to end up, the right tackle. How do you feel? Do you think they've begun fixing this? And, like, could this group eventually be a strength for this team? Because I think it can.
I agree with you. I think it can. I kind of think we know what the plan is, right? It sounds like unless Austin Jackson changes a lot of minds, Proctor's going to move over. And that's fine. We've got Jonah over there at right guard. I think it was the right decision to move him. Brewer, you lock him up into the extension. Patrick Paul's awesome. So, you're going to need depth at that spot for sure. Like, and they're in the process of finding those guys. I actually kind of liked what we saw from DJ Campbell against New York.
Right, much better.
Yeah, right. That's a guy who could play both guard spots. I thought he had 2 real impact blocks early in that game when he checked in. So maybe you find some guys here. But right now, like, beggars can't be choosers, right? Like, we got to get the starters fixed, and then we'll figure out the depth at some point later on. But I think they have, like, their 4 of their future offensive linemen on the offensive line right now. And Austin Jackson's young enough, right? Like, I'm not going to rule it out, but obviously, the contract year and everything, he's going to have to change some minds right now.
Yeah, shout out. We did sign. Michael says we did sign the wide receiver. Jason, it was Ryan Miller, the former Bucks guy.
Ryan Miller, yeah.
And they got a good look at him in the joint practice, right?
I mean,
special
he
teams
the
guy.
Team,
They released Taj Washington, but no surprise. No, and there's no surprise by that. So we talked about all the rebuild and all these things. How do you feel about the rookie class? Because 13 rookies, and I mentioned to you, this is about Sully hit rate here. How do you feel about this group? To me, it feels like I kind of get the 90. I don't want to say 96, 90, all those great players, but those big draft classes that Jimmy Johnson used to have. I don't know if he's going to hit like that. Kind of get that feel. Something I haven't felt around here in a while. How do you feel about the draft class so far?
I'm high on it. I do think, when you just obviously hit on a guy like Jacob Rodriguez and you're just like, oh, all right, this guy's a player, just right away.
Yeah.
When you take a guy like Proctor, who there's so few humans at his size and speed, at the top of the draft where you took him. I think Chris Johnson is weirdly, I know he was picked at the end of the first round with that Waddle pick, but we don't really talk about him a lot, it feels like.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah. No, you know what? Great point. Great point. But I think he's been great. Yeah, if we have seen in the NFL, especially more recently too, like one draft class, what that can do for an organization in terms of spinning things forward. We don't know that this is that draft class, but they took a lot of swings, and I think it's pretty clear that they've got a few hits already, right? Like Douglas is going to be good, Bell's going to be good. I think these guys, like Coleman's going to be good. How good are they going to be? I think is the big question. But this team really needed just guys who could play snaps, right? And I think we're going to see in the first couple weeks of the season, a lot of these rookies get a big, heavy share of the snaps on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I love J-Rod. You make a great point. It's going to be like, how good are they? Is there superstars? But if you get 5 or 6 foundation pieces out of a 13, I think that's the great start. I agree. I kind of agree. What's the upside here? How many superstars do we have? But I love J-Rod. I was a huge fan of his. We love Chris Johnson on here. Chris had a good practice today. He's just quiet, man. The guy's smart. People don't realize to bring somebody in the slot and play the outside as a rookie, both positions, dude, you got to be really intelligent. It's not easy, and he's gonna have his moments. He's left corners are hard. They take a while to develop. I'm with you.
And we've been scarred here with some tough cornerback draft picks lately, and so if Chris Johnson's really the one, that's huge. Yeah, I think. Look, you can win a lot of baseball games hitting singles and doubles. You don't always have to hit them. You don't always have to win them hitting home runs. And I do wonder if the Dolphins. I'm not saying none of these guys could be a home run, but really, I think you just got all right. Let's focus on the singles. Let's focus on doubles. We had too many home run swings over the last few years. When you hit singles and doubles, every once in a while, one of them goes out of the park. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to stretch this baseball metaphor as far as I can, but I think of the 13 picks, if half of them are contributors, that's an awesome draft.
No,
you're 100% right. I mean, normally there's 6 or 7 picks, and if 2 or 3 hit, so maximizing your lottery tickets, like George likes to say, 100%.
50,
give me 6 hits.
Jimmy Johnson used to do this so great. He's like, yeah, I need these their lotto tickets. Give me 13 of them. I'll give you 6. You give me 7 picks. If I'm lucky, 3, 4 is the most.
Right.
I believe in that. It's one thing we haven't done around here a lot is you pick 13 players, and if you know what you're doing, dude, you're gonna get 5 or 6 guys out of that class. So I think they should always. I think that was the problem with the old regime is they kind of had the right idea.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it flipped
and pivoted.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as Tyreek Hill became available, they were just like, "Nope, we're going to do this now." And then you're trading them for, you do the Chubb trade and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, wait, you were on the right track, and then we didn't really do that. And then you kind of get over your skis a little too much.
Yeah. I agree.
Speaking of the old regime, a couple of those picks from the last year, 2 years, big-time steps are needed from guys like Chop Robinson, Kenneth Grant, Dante Trader Jr., Jordan Phillips. How do you see those guys making that next leap, and who of that bunch, and if there's someone else, who do you see really taking a big step this year?
I mean, the guy is Chop Robinson, isn't it? He's the guy who has flashed in training camp. I thought he said, was it last week maybe? Where he was talking about, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, talking about how he was asked why he put the weight on, why he put the weight back on. And he was talking about some of the schematic stuff that the previous regime had him doing, about the old staff had me kind of dropping back in coverage, all the stuff that we knew, but to hear him actually say it, I thought was really interesting. And it was clear, the unsaid part was, and I was uncomfortable doing all of those things. And for him to just, be able to, focus on rushing the passer, this year and putting on that weight again, and to hear him just being like, hey, I feel good, like this is my fighting weight, right? You don't want to lose too much weight, obviously, especially if you're a rusher. So I found that whole sort of exchange really interesting, and it's invigorating, right? Players want to be in a situation where they're comfortable, and once they're comfortable, they can feel reinvigorated if they're being used to think that the way that they think they need to be used. And clearly, Chop thinks he's being used in the right way, and he's like the guy who flashes every single practice. Oh, Chop Robinson had another great day at practice today. He's like, all right, cool. Tell me what else is new. So if he's a legit rusher, I mean, what he was doing as a rookie, I thought the potential was obvious. Takes that back step, and now if he can kind of get back on track, that makes a lot of sense to me. And then. In terms of the guys I'm bullish on who are still around, he's the number one guy. I think to get Jonah really going again is huge because now we're talking about 2 interior linemen who have that kind of size and talent, just raw talent. That's going to be big. And then I've been really impressed with not so much like Dante Trader had a rough day against the Giants, but he's showing some like leadership stuff that I think is really important. And when you have a guy like that kind of saying and doing the right things and kind of leading by example, that to me means something. And I've been more overall impressed with Trader despite the rough day against New York. So those are the guys I've been pretty high on,
Yeah, the Chop, I'll tell you, the Chop stuff, I bet his upper body looks stronger, like the traps and stuff. And he's been a lot more physical. I agree that first half. And I think what happened is this is like Hafley's quote. It was almost a spoism, like you have to earn the right to rush the passer, he said. And I love that line, right? And I think if he can do that, because he was a liability. You can't get on the field. And I think they kind of caught up with, it's like a fastball. He had that first step. They kind of caught up with it. He's got a counter. He's looked a lot more physical. He's an X factor for this team, to rebuild, to speed it up. He's definitely an X factor because they got nothing. I know our guy Lo-Fi says we got to give Max. I'm thinking, is that Max Llewellyn? Is he talking about? But there's not much behind him in the pass rush. How do you feel about the pass rush, man? It's going to be, I think, a little rough.
To your point, right? Like Chop is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting. I want to see Sealer back in there. He's got a way of kind of helping the whole group, and we'll see what happens when he gets back. But that's another, like, don't be surprised, right? Like we've already seen them make some additions along that front with some pass rushers. Don't be surprised if that's also a waiver wire target position for them.
How active do you see that being? I mean, there could be like 6 or 7 new Dolphins in a week and a half coming in.
Maybe more, Jason.
Maybe more.
Well, I think the first question, right, is like how many NFL players are on the roster right now? I would put it at 35-ish.
Sounds
being
about
nice.
right.
Being
Sounds
nice,
about right.
right?
That's pretty good.
So you got 20 spots, give or take, to figure. I think there's a huge churn. Maybe not like right away because that would be a little insane, right? That would be a little too much like Game of Thrones Red Wedding. But like, would you
2019 Dolphins?
Yeah, would you? Yeah, exactly, right. Would you? Is that something that'll just sort of churn throughout the season as they continue to try to find guys? But I do, based on what was it yesterday? I think Hafley said that they've had conversations. Him and Sullivan have had conversations about that, and to me, it was very telling that he wasn't like, no, we like a lot of the guys that we have, and he was like, no, we're gonna be opportunistic, and you're like, oh, okay, got it, like 20, like these guys are playing for their jobs, understood.
Yeah. We've already seen it. Like halftime of the game, they picked up a corner. It was like I was at the game, I looked at my phone, halftime move. I'm like, wow, the game's going on. So they're definitely give me one underrated guy. Maybe you already said you believe we're sleeping on that. We look back and say, dude, this guy nobody's talking about enough. And maybe it's a veteran, maybe it's a young guy. I mean, there's not many veterans, but I'm sure. Is there anybody? I know it's a little catch you off guard, but anybody come to your mind?
No. I think I saw somebody mention him in the comments, but Jackson Woodard.
Oh yeah,
what a strong last few days for him.
Dude.
I mean, really pops against the Giants. Really good days in camp today and yesterday. This linebacker group, all of a sudden, like I know they're dinged up, obviously, but like the silver lining has been like, oh, Woodard can play, right?
Yeah.
Like that's sort of been the silver lining. What was a position of strength that we kind of already knew going into all this, into the preseason, might end up even being a little bit deeper than we had anticipated. And if we can find a bunch of young guys at that spot, yeah, Woodard was the first guy that when you mentioned sleeper, that's the first guy I thought of.
Yeah, he's played fantastic, dude. His film against the Commanders, him and that new defensive tackle, which I can't pronounce his name. Sonny might want to jump in there. But, like, and then yesterday, like, he's been really good. Like, I think he's on the team, man. Like, I don't think they can get – especially with the, Trey Moore. We should mention that. That was a tough blow. and they don't have a lot of players that similar skill set to play that Sam, to be physical, to set the edge, to pass rush, to even drop. That's going to be tough. Hafley gave an update today. He's going to be out a while. No surprise if you saw that. He's going to be maybe there's a chance he comes back this season. But yeah, I think Woodard's on it, man, no doubt, right?
I agree. I think Woodard's on the team. The Trey Mormon news is such a bummer. I was so excited to see the way that Hafley was going to deploy him on defense. Like, we know all the stuff that he was running with the Packers and stuff, and Trey Moore was supposed to be sort of like that apex backer. I hope they have another solution to that spot, because I really want to, like, that seems like a really important, like, if you could pick a player to not get hurt, it almost felt like it was going to be him.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a couple other guys were on that list, but that was a real bummer.
Yeah, he was going to do a lot. He played a ton everywhere in training camp. So
yeah.
We really, everyone really thought that he was going to be like that Hafley chess piece. So, like, we wish him well. Hopefully he gets back this season. That remains to be seen, of course. But overall, we've touched on the lack of depth. You're saying there's about 30, 35 players on the roster that are NFL players. I agree. Is there an area that you have less concern that is fairly or remotely deep? And on the flip side, what's the least depth room that you can talk to us about?
So I think the one room that I have tended to be more bullish on than most people is wide receiver. We've already talked about that. Like, I'm ready to just give these rookies the reps. Like, just throw them the ball. Like what are we doing? I know that you want like a veteran in the room with them and stuff, and Atwell has been really, disappointing and stuff, but I'm just all in on throwing these guys the ball and letting them figure it out with Willis, right? Like, you still have Washington there as sort of a vet, so you do have some experience in that at that position. What was the second question? Like, what's the one that's
what's the most problematic? The most problematic lack of depth.
They have like half of a starting safety on this team. Like, what the hell are we gonna do there? That's a problem. That's a major problem, and that feels like the one spot that feels like a non-negotiable. Like, you got to do something there. Like, if you're gonna be a serious. I know that we're not trying to talk about wins, right? This season's probably more about small victories than the big ones. But if you want to look like a serious football team,
you got to have a baseline. You got to have a baseline.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably the one position. Can I throw one more at you guys?
Yeah, please.
I'm getting kind of low on this running back position.
Oh, I knew you were going there, Wes. I knew you were going there.
Achane's obviously awesome.
Yeah.
But are we sure Gordon and Wright are dudes? I would not be shocked if if one of those guys didn't make the 53. That could be a surprising move.
I'm glad you said that.
Who do you think it'd be, Wright or Gordon? I think I'd lean to Wright being the surprise one.
That gets moved? Yeah, not making it. That's what I think, only because Gordon has a very specific skill set. Hey, this is theoretically at least the goal line back, although he never has really done it in practice. But yeah, I think to me Wright would probably be the guy.
On our post-game, Wes, after the Giant game, the four of us, we just threw around who we think is going to win RB2. And I went a little off script, and I said, he's not on the roster yet. I honestly think that they can go off the scrap heap and get maybe somebody who could work their way in. And maybe even Carlos Washington. Who knows? He's actually looked pretty decent.
He's good, dude.
Yeah.
I've been on. He catches your eye. I don't know if they'd elevate him, but and that's a position. I don't know if Wes, you agree. You can find a guy. I think if that's the one position you can find, right? It's finding a backup running back.
Yeah, and I'm going to be very intrigued to see the snap count on the running backs against Atlanta. Are they going to give Washington a little bit more of a chance here to be all right, let's see what this guy can do, and if he really impresses against the Falcons, maybe he is, and maybe he does get elevated.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know what? I understand we talk about the lack of depth. I don't know why it surprises anybody. If everybody's projecting this team to win 3 or 4, 5, 6 games. You can't expect them to have a strong second and third team unit. Maybe you wanted to be surprised, but this is year one, and they took this roster down to the studs. Bottom of the roster, it's going to turn over, like you guys said. Depth will be built across multiple drafts and multiple off seasons. And again, I go back to the hit rate. How many foundational pieces do you have this year? But the depth thing is I don't know if it's a surprise to you guys, but I think we talk about it, then when you see it, maybe that's the kind of difference. You see it and you hope, okay. I wish there was a couple guys that surprised us, and maybe we had more depth than we thought, I guess. But I'm not. Are any of you guys surprised at the depth issue? Because I'm not.
No, that's sort of what I've been talking about on my show a lot. Is what did we expect here?
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, the Giants might be good this year, right? Like, you thought our backups were as good as their backups? Like, what? Like, that's what if you're going to rebuild, you start with the starting guys, and then you go from there. It's been 2 preseason games. It's been a matter of months since these guys have been in charge. We got to pump the brakes a little bit. That said, like, if it's clear that these guys aren't NFL players, then you got to churn them. Then you got to start doing things. So, like, if cuts come down and the Dolphins haven't ended up making some changes at the end of the roster, then I think if you're, a Dolphins fan, and I think you might have a leg to stand on in terms of complaints. But I do think we need to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just, it's more realistic. All right, I want to get a little fun here. You cover the Heat, and culture's that's all over the building, right? With the larger roster and more tournament, how important is that, you think, in the NFL? Does it translate? Because you're around that whole culture thing, right? First of all, is it real? And number 2, how important do you think is for these guys, or is it overstated?
So in terms of whether Heat culture is real, where I have landed on this is players think it's real, so it's real.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Great point.
What does it matter if I think it's real? And by the way, like, every organization has a culture. Every NBA team, every NFL team, every Microsoft has a culture. Everybody's got a culture. The question is, do you have a good culture or a bad one? And I just think about, okay, what does culture in a business sense mean? And it just means that you guys are all aligned. You guys are all kind of going on the same page. And I think for the Heat, I always say this, like, you talk to the 15th guy on the roster and you talk to the owner, they're saying the same thing about all the same things. Yeah. Right? Like, they're all aligned. And it's not like some PR talking point, right? It's just they all believe the same stuff. They're talking about the same stuff. And the communication is so important when it comes to culture. And I think it's probably the most important thing, right? Are we communicating and going in going in the same direction? And to go back to my earlier point on this Dolphins front office and regime, that seems to be something that's going on, right? Like, it does seem like the GM and the head coach are aligned, and that the roster kind of knows what's what, and the players know what's going on. And, that's the part that I think was missing over the last few years, is that lack of identity and that lack of communication and a lack of a plan and a lack of a scheme and all those kinds of things. And I do hope that this group is doing it in a better way. How important is culture in the NFL? I think it's a great question. To me, I think it's less important than it is in the NBA. Because if you think about the NBA, you have so many games, you're spending so much time with the same people. Like, they spend more time with their teammates than they do with their families. Like, that is not the case in the NFL. The NFL is a 9-to-5 job. You punch in, you punch out, you go home. You spend time with your wife and kids. You do have to play on Sundays, and that's it. So, but I do think, to me, culture is more of like a situational thing in the NFL, where in the NBA, it's more of like a meta conversation. I know when an NFL team has culture, when fourth quarter, you need a drive, and you need your quarterback or your running back or your wide receiver to make a play, or whoever it is, you need your defense to make a play. That's when you see culture. To me, in the NFL, culture is much more situational. In the NBA, it's more of a meta type of thing.
That's a great point. And, the Heat put it on their court. So I love, they'll let you know.
Or you can just do that, yeah.
Yeah, or we can just put it on the field,
But culture in the end zone.
Three titles in 20 years. They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. But look, Wes, I can't help to talk Heat with you. I'm excited. I'm a fan of Locked On Heat.
Thank you.
There were some, including myself, wanted them to do what the Dolphins are doing. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. So, like, it's every culture, every regime has their ups and downs. But let's stick with the Heat here. Let's put it back. Who is the Bam Adebayo of this rebuild? The culture anchor.
Oh, what a great question.
I got one, but I'll let you go.
Huh. So, Bam Adebayo, young guy.
Think rookie.
Yeah. Young guy, was kind of overlooked in the draft, but impressed with the work ethic and all the behind-the-scenes stuff. You're thinking rookie. Is it Jacob Rodriguez?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta be, right? Yes. That's his guy.
I mean, all right, that's all I answered. Sonny, you're familiar with Bam Adebayo. He's like
a little bit.
He's Alonzo Mourning. He's that now. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to go with a rookie. I'm going to go with the elder statesman. I'm going to go with the leader of the group, the longest tenured player, and Zach Sealer.
Okay. You could even go one with another linebacker, a veteran linebacker.
Jordan Brooks. I could do that too.
Yeah, could have gone Brooks.
I could have gone Brooks, yeah, but Brooks is probably.
Are you locking in Jacob or are you locking in another answer?
No, I'll be optimistic. I'll go Jacob there. But Sealer's a good pick though, because Sealer really is like, he does set the tone, especially for that front seven. And, overlooked guy also kind of carves out a lane and it kind of becomes a Dolphin guy. Yeah.
You can throw a little Patrick Paul in there, maybe. Maybe coach.
Oh yeah, I thought defense just because Bam is such a great defender. I wasn't even thinking about the offense, but yeah, Pat Paul could be an option too. Yeah.
All right. Who's the Giannis? Is it Malik? Who's the franchise ceiling guy?
If we got
is there one?
We're looking good, man. I guess it would be Achan, wouldn't it? Like he's the best player on the team.
Malik or Achan? Malik's unproven, but he brings the franchise raising ceiling hope, right? Like and then we can go. I'm gonna go about Clay. Shout out to Clay Thompson.
I'll go Achan because he's gonna be the workhorse, and I think Giannis is the workhorse, and they're gonna get the highest usage on their teams.
So, Arnie, who's your Giannis?
Oh man, I mean, I probably should have saved that one for Sealer, but who's the honest? Sealer, there's no veteran. How long did Giannis play?
I think it's Malik, man. I think it's Achan or Malik. We can go on and on. Who's the Clay Thompson? We can go on and on. Go ahead, Jason.
So when the season's over, what developments? What 2 or 3 things that are you looking for to say, you know what, this rebuild is actually working right now?
I need to see. I need to feel good about like a couple of units, right? Maybe that's asking a little bit too much, but if I feel good about the offensive line coming out of this season, if I feel good about maybe the defensive line, the linebacker group, whatever it is, I'm like, oh, like we kind of have maybe we're like 85 to 90% there with this group. I think that would be a huge win. And then if we get one, like, I don't know. Like, is this too much or is the bar too low? Yeah. Do we have one playmaker outside of Achan? Is it one of these wide receivers? Is it somebody else? What's it going to be? Like, is there another weapon on this offense? And then obviously we already talked about Malik Willis. Like, we got to feel pretty good about that. But I don't even know if that's a requirement to feel great about the rebuild. More of maybe like icing on the cake after 1 year. But and then I gotta see, like, defensively, are they outperforming the expectations based on the talent of this group? Because Hafley's a defensive coach. Yeah. And so is he going to be able to scheme up a defense that's just a little bit better than what they're supposed to be based on the talent level? That would be a really key thing for me because that obviously speaks to Hafley's bread and butter, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I kind of made and I'll ask you this question. Judging Sully, if like he hits on most of his draft picks, but Malik's not the guy, I'm fine with that. Like he took a shot there. Yeah. Like I think it's almost more important. It's crazy to sound like the draft picks show that he can hit. I mean, if you hit on a franchise quarterback on Malik, I guess that's great. But like, you know where I'm getting there. Like if 7 draft picks look really good and Malik's just okay, I think it's not an indictment on Sully about Malik. I think he just took the shot that was no risk. Right? Do you agree with that?
I do. I have a hard. I don't think GMs should ever get fired because of a quarterback decision.
It's so hard to evaluate him.
Right. We all agree that it's impossible. It's a total crapshoot. So, like, why are we going to fire this guy? If he's nailing the other picks across the roster, then I feel good about this guy. And let him just keep taking shots at quarterback. Right?
Yeah. Like, I'm with you, man.
Yeah. Just if Proctor ends up being great and Rod ends up being great and Chris Johnson ends up being an awesome pick at the end of the first round and one of these receivers ends up being a real target for them, then, I think you have to consider it an A+, right? Because with quarterbacks, we've all agreed that we have no idea what the hell we're doing at quarterback, like forever. So then why should we hold anybody to a standard of, well, we all don't know what's happening, but you should?
Yeah, it's impossible. There's probably 4 or 5 guys in this planet that can evaluate a quarterback. I mean, it's difficult. Like it's so difficult. I mean, I do draft work, and it is very difficult. I call it the elevator, coming out the elevator from college to the pros. And by the way, this stuff about guys going back to training camp, then going back to college, dude, I can't get. It's just weird. It feels I can't.
Who's the quarterback you were most wrong about in a draft that you can think of?
Wow,
that's a great question, Wes. I wasn't as high on Dart, and that's still to be determined.
That's TBD, yeah.
I wasn't as high. I'm still not there, but I recently maybe I wasn't as high on Dart. Carson Beck wasn't high on, so that's TBD as well. But like going back, I mean, Wow, it's probably those two that come to my head. I have to go readily back in the memory bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is Willis the guy you were most right on, or?
Probably. Consider where he was picked.
Yeah.
But that's a Wes, I gotta have you on more. I love that stuff, man. That's a bet right there, dude. That's a good question. What about you? I mean, are you a draft guy or?
So I used to be a huge NFL draft guy, and then the NBA pulled me in a different direction for my job, and I ended up being a big NBA draft guy. But I am a big draft guy. If you would have seen the spreadsheets I had when I was 13 years old on the NFL draft,
I'm with you.
I was cranking out film. Like I was finding weird corners of the internet back then. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it is. Like trying to find these things.
I got one. Jamarcus Russell was probably wrong on.
Well, I mean,
yeah. I'm thinking
back in the day where all we saw was that dumb throw that he took from his knee, and we're just like, Elway. I mean, let's go. It's just.
Allen was one I was real. Allen, and I got to give my brother like Josh Allen. I was like, this is the guy. Like,
so my,
you know what I
my
mean?
guy, I was like, how is Caleb Williams? How do we not all agree that this guy is a future Hall of Famer? And I was looking really good, and then I was looking really bad, and now I'm looking pretty okay on that. So we'll see where that goes. But that's my big TBD. I was
it's weird. It's weird, right? How like even Malik, I don't know if he's going to turn out, but like it's like for a couple years there, I wasn't looking so hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But dude, if I always say this, Jason knows I'll plant my flag on guys, and if I'm right half of the time, it's just like what the guys who get paid to do are half right at the time. So like it's fun. I enjoy doing it. All right, are you down for a little over under lightning round predictions?
Yeah, rock and roll.
Sonny, we can answer these two. All right.
Sure.
All right. Malik Willis over under 3,000 passing yards. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Wes. Wes will go first. All of them.
Oh man.
No, the guess is always first, right?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna
it's
go.
Tough, right?
I'm gonna go very. So here's my two things I'm thinking about right now. I know you said lightning round.
No, it's okay, dude.
They're gonna run the ball a lot, and they're gonna be off the field pretty quickly a lot of the time. So I'm like, is he gonna get the throws? I'm gonna go slight over though. I'm gonna be an optimist. I'm gonna go slight over on it.
Yeah. I'm like 3,050 yards. So like I'm gonna go.
I'm like the number that popped in my head was 3,100.
Yeah. So like I'm there too, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2,900. Go ahead, Sonny. Break the tie here. Are you going?
I'm exactly slightly over, and I'm citing that they're going to be down often in the fourth. So you might get a lot of garbage yards.
Yep.
So fantasy players, you might enjoy 15 points in the fourth quarter alone from Malik. So
and Chad, you can go ahead, Chad. We want to hear Chad's. We might be behind.
Slightly over 3,000. We'll put them in like 2021 if you're looking at last year's stats.
Look at Jalen Hurts. Be fair. Look at Jalen Hurts stats. There's not it's not easy to get over 3,000 that type of quarterback. All right, Malik Willis over under 550 rushing yards.
I'm gonna go.
So these good ones? Are these good ones?
These are good. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna give you a number. I'm gonna go 700.
Actually, I'm gonna go slight under 525.
I'm gonna go right in the middle. I'll say over around 600.
All right. Why am I? Because I don't think he's going to run as much as we think. I don't know.
I think there's going to be a lot of panic runs. Not necessarily because of the offensive line, but maybe like the receivers are just not getting open fast enough.
Yeah, there's no separation, like nothing downfield. 500. We got over 650. Okay, give me more over the rushing. I think he approaches 4,000 total yards. Whoa, Jordan 701. All right, so people agree with you guys over. All right, Malik Willis over under 24.5 combined passing and rushing touchdowns.
I'll take under on this. Yeah, I think most of his rushes are going to be like in the middle of the field. I don't think they're necessarily like red zone rushes. And then he's just not going to throw that many of them. So
yeah. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go 26. I'm going to go over. Sonny?
I'm going to go really slightly under, like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
When you look at the scattering of passing touchdowns, I don't see many, So just a tad under.
We got 30, we got 24, we got under, just under. We got
30
10
would be a huge win if we're getting.
Dude,
come on.
We got you would, for example, you win 6 games. and the rookies and Malik does 30 touchdowns, both of those things can exist.
Yeah.
Right? You're just young and you don't have depth, like we talked about. But yeah, I agree. All right. Dolphins over under 4.5 victories.
You don't want my answer to this.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I'm taking the hard under. I'm gonna lock that one in, guys.
All
I'm
right.
gonna lock that one in.
Did you do a little hard rock?
You don't have to answer that if you don't.
Yeah,
want.
you don't have to answer.
Over under how many hard rock bets on that one?
Exactly.
I'm going under. I think this is like I don't know. I could be totally wrong on this, but I think this is like a 3-win football team, and I'm fine with it. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to live in that world for a year.
And by the way, do you think things can go right and they're a 3-win team, and you still believe in what so like if 100%. It's not 5? Okay.
That's why it's not about the big W's. It's about the small V's this year.
Yeah, true.
I like
Sarni.
that. I've been saying all offseason 4 to 5 wins. After the depth that we've seen, I'm going to skew to the lower number. So I will say 3 or 4 victories.
Yeah.
But I agree fully with Wes. I don't care. I mean, this is not the year. What, 6 wins? Everyone's going to be happy?
To be fair, you're getting blown out and you win 1 or 2 games. There's,
exactly. This is a developmental year.
Yeah.
I do think they're going to start the year 1-0.
I do
That's
too.
not a bad call.
I do too.
I think so too.
And then all of us are
too.
going to have to do shows and just be like, well,
Oh,
okay.
hey,
and
Super
then
Bowl,
it's
you're
like-
Exactly.
I'll go. Look, you know what? I'll go over.
Good for
They
you.
win 5 games.
Good
They
for
win
you.
5.
All right.
I cannot see doing the schedule more than that though. It's tough.
I've got like you're going to beat the Jets once, and you're going to beat the
I hope
Raiders.
5 wins. They got to beat them twice. I think.
No, remember the
Right,
Jets
that's
are
what
probably.
I'm saying.
gonna-
Like, I've got 2 wins I feel good about on the schedule,
yeah.
and not even like when I say good, you know what I mean? Like not even.
Then there's those weird games. Could they steal Indy game? Could they steal Chicago game? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those weird kind of.
That gauntlet at the end of the year, though, Wes. Oh boy.
It's 4-1
Back
ball
end of the
prediction
season.
by Jordan.
Yeah.
All right. Rookies who become regular starters week 1, and I lowered the number because Trey Moore's out.
Okay.
Over under 4.5.
All right, let me think. You got 1, 2, 3. What was your over under?
4.5. Now,
I'll go over.
Okay, so is it? We got on offense Proctor, Caleb Douglas. Are you counting Kaczmarek as a starter? Like, because he could be on the first play as all personnel.
I wasn't including him, but you could count him for sure.
All right, so give me your over. Give me your 5.
I think you're gonna have 2 receivers if we're going with the slot,
Okay.
right? I think
You're going
if
Kevin
we're
Coleman?
going through, I think we got 2 receivers.
Or Bell.
It could be Bell, right? We'll see.
Yeah.
I would go 2 receivers, obviously left guard, and then potentially Kaczmarek, and then on defense I'm going Rodriguez, Chris Johnson. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Right? That's 5, 5 or 6. Yeah.
So the 2 receivers, the offensive lineman, the 2 guys on defense. Sarni, anything different over under or Michael Taft? Is Michael Taft?
Eventually.
Wes, that's Sarni's guy. That's Sarni's
Mid-season.
guy.
Mid-season.
That's Sarni's guy.
Exactly. I mean, look, all due respect to Zane Anderson, I don't know if you want a career special teamer as an 80 snap safety throughout the year, 80% snap safety. I believe that Taft will take that over. But week 1, I like 5. And yeah, I will include Kaczmarek. Because if you're starting off at 12 or 13 personnel, the definition of a starter is if you're on the field in the first play. So let's rock.
Yeah, the Kaczmarek one, I'm going over. I think it's either Kaczmarek or we had the receiver like.
Yeah, you can almost like toggle one of them. Yeah.
The thing is too is that the Moore was definitely because I had Alan Poupard on. He's like 5.5. He was over because he included Trey Moore.
I think Moore would have definitely.
Oh,
been
he was
started.
definitely
100%.
Chop Robinson over under 8.5 sacks. Are these that good that we're silent?
Okay. So here's what my initial gut reaction was under, right?
Yeah.
Because he's always been like a pressure guy,
Not a sack guy.
not a sack guy.
The number, yeah.
But I think this defense is going to be on the field a lot. But is there going to be a lot of pass rushing downs? I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under on this.
I am too. I'm gonna go 8. You know what I mean?
Slide under. Yeah.
Slide
okay.
under. I mean, I think 7 or 8 is the number. I think so many people mentioned the chat. He's going to double team a lot, push.
Yep.
They say over. I think Uche will help. All right, Sonny, what are you going over under?
I'm going to go under. If he had somewhat of a bookend that could, alleviate some double teams, if there was some threat, I'd go over slightly. But I think 6 or 7 is where we'll see him.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, all right. So, Wes, we kept you here for about an hour. Man, how was it? Your first time here? We loved it, man. You're great. And I watched some of your Locked On Dolphin stuff. Tell everybody, first of all, what you got going on. Even promote, they know you're on Locked On Heat, but like even promote that, everything you got to promote, where they can find you, all the good stuff you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, the Heat season's starting, so check out Locked On Heat, daily podcasts, 30 minutes a day, Monday through Friday. We also have a great Locked On Dolphins show. You guys have had Kyle Krabs on before, and he does an awesome job. He does basically what I do for the Dolphins, what I do for the Heat, he does for the Dolphins. 30 minutes every day. And then what we launched as a network is called Locked On Hit, which every NBA and NFL team, and maybe we're going to expand to the other sports too, but they're going to. It's a secondary. It's like a secondary feed that we have basically. So you get your 30 minutes every day with Kyle Krabs, and then the idea is then you go to me, and I've got 2 5-minute short podcasts a day on the Dolphins, and then 4 like short, like real YouTube shorts type of pieces of content every day. So it's like more Dolphins influencer than Dolphins podcaster, which feels cringe-worthy to say, but that's sort of what the idea is. And so, it's like real quick takes. It's kind of interesting finding the rhythm on that, but it's been a lot of fun. And so check us out, Locked On Dolphins Hit on YouTube and all of your social media feeds, all the places where you usually go on social media, we're there. And posting 4 times a day at minimum. So check us out.
You're doing a great job, and you're great on the Locked On Heat. I'm sure you're going to be doing great here, and we're welcome to the Dolphins. I guess the content creator family, Wes. It was a pleasure. Let's do it again. I'd love to. I appreciate it. All right. So I'll be back on tomorrow, and we could be talking about quarterback 2 stuff, and then we'll actually be on all week. Just make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification. Check out our friends at finheaven.com. Great. You got to check it out, Wes. I don't know if you've ever been on finheaven.com. There's threads on the message board. It's unfair that we have that compared to the rest of the NFL. So check out FinHeaven and finsfaithful.com. We got new articles up. We had one from our guy Lo-Fi today about a quarterback to watch out for on the Falcons game Friday. And obviously not Tua, one of the young quarterbacks. So, all right, for Wes, for Jason, for myself, guys, stay Fins faithful. Until next time, we are out.